Right. We are live. Hey Ajit. Hey everyone.
Yes, Ankush.
Thanks for joining. And today we are going to talk about monorepos. So we will see how we can actually migrate the an Angular application to an X. So if you are not aware, Ajit is working on an dev to clone, and this is what he has done so far. Let me show you the screen. So it looks really nice. Ajit, you have done a lot of work here. I'm not sure how you're getting so much time.
So I don't get so much time, so I want to have a shout
Uh-huh.
out to like I have already 4 contributors and they have
Okay.
contributed entire pages.
Cool.
Like Nivetha and Shelapan. I don't know how to pronounce their names, but I'm
Uh-huh.
pronouncing wrong. But
Uh-huh.
the entire listing page is contributed by Chelapan and the videos
Okay.
page is contributed by Nivetha and Vimal
Oh,
also contributed some linting
oh,
and prettier.
oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Great. So, just to ask you, Ajit, why you started this project? I mean, what was the motivation behind that?
So like my main motivation was I wanted to try some Angular libraries. So
Okay.
so here I have used the component store. I have used
Mhm.
the NGRX store, but
Okay.
most of the time like you have to delete the state when a component closes, like to maintain that. I didn't like its flow that the state still remains once the component dies. You have to maintain all that, like if in login like you are saving the form state in the store, then you have to delete the form state when someone logged in, so that he can
Uh-huh.
logged in with the new forms.
Okay.
So to try all these libraries, so I thought like I would do a private project, a small project. Why not make it
Mhm.
open source? Why? So I thought, what is the API? First, I thought, what is the API available? So when I saw that dev.to API is is good enough, is big, so I can try
Mhm.
various things in it. So I thought I'll try component store, push pipe by RX
Uh,
Angular, and RX led by RX Angular. Then I'm going to
I was
try
recently going through
NX.
the documentation.
What?
No, no, I was saying, I mean, RX Angular, I really like that project. Recently I was going through the documentation and I started using in one of my project.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I also really like
uh-huh.
Michael Headley has done a great job.
Yeah.
I Yeah. Uh, just the rendering strategies part until a demo application comes, like having your mind around it is really hard.
Okay.
But the push pipe solves the null problem which we were just talking
Mhm.
about. Like with the async pipe first returns null, right? So you
Uh-huh.
have
Right.
to have three options, like the three typings: null, undefined, and the actual value.
Yeah.
So that makes it hard, like you have to account for null and undefined, and
Mhm.
it sometimes breaks. So the
Uh,
push pipes does not return null, it returns
uh,
undefined, so you have to manage less state, less type definitions. So
uh-huh.
I really like that. And RX let uh, um, giving the three states of observable. I really like
Mhm.
that too, like the error
Cool.
state, the suspense state, and everything.
They recently added that, right? The suspense one.
Yeah,
So this is the GitHub repository. I have just posted in the chat in case you want to look at this code base. You can just go to this repository, and if even if you're interested in contributing, as I just said, we already have few contributors. You can see here, so you can go ahead and open a pull request. I think there are list of issues as well. Is this opened by you, Ajit? Most
yeah.
of it.
So most of them are opened by me, but some by other,
Uh,
like Shelapan opened one,
ah,
Vimal opened
uh,
one,
okay,
and
okay.
and these are small issues that I create, that maybe one
Uh-huh.
week I'll work on them if when the project gets in a good state. But until then, I have I have made them
Uh-huh.
open so that other people can, anyone can pick up on any issue, like small
Uh-huh.
things, so that we get to know each other, like
Oh,
because
nice.
it's an application.
Mm-hmm.
So it's necessary that I know people, so what they are doing, what I'll do, because we don't want too much clashes, too much
Agreed, agreed. I mean, it's better actually if you have issues. That's really great. I mean, this is good thing to start with in case you are starting with a new open source project, I would say. So if you have a list of open issues, everyone knows what needs to be done, and in case they think something is missing, they can also add a new or open a new issue. That's good. Good. That's great.
yeah.
Okay, so you also have GitHub Actions. So yeah.
So I have already added the deployment action, but
Uh-huh.
linting
Okay.
and testing, I thought like linting action is not that useful right now.
Okay.
uh,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
after Vimal added the linting and the prettier, now I'm thinking of adding its GitHub action too.
So he added pre-commit, right? So if I'm not wrong,
uh, what?
or he added pre-commit, right? Let me just
Yeah.
no. Okay, this is not.
No, he
Let me.
added the ng commit lint. So uh, have you
Mm-hmm.
seen in Angular repo there is feed and then colon, like how your
Uh-huh.
commit message should be. So Vimal added that.
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
with that,
Husky.
yeah.
He's using Husky. Yeah, right. Okay, got it.
So with that, like if someone gets into the commit history,
Mm-hmm.
uh, so if someone gets into the commit history, they can easily see when something was fixed or some feature was added. So
Mm-hmm.
going through the repo becomes easier.
Right.
So now he is adding prettier, like you can go to pull request and see that he has added prettier too.
Okay. Okay. Adding prettier to pre-commit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Great.
Yeah.
So okay. Yeah.
I
Tell me.
just wanna tell that what its schedule is. Like I work on this only on Thursdays.
Oh.
So I like I do like I am trying to learn AWS and other things. So I work on this only on Thursdays.
Okay.
So I review pull requests on Thursdays, and rest
Uh-huh.
of the days, and I merge two pull requests on Thursdays. So
Uh-huh.
anything related to this project is done on Thursday by me. So
Cool.
I
So
just wanna put that out.
cool.
So
So
don't be demoralized if I don't look at any pull request or issue for a week.
uh, that's great. So everyone knows. Okay, Thursday is the date, a day when it will be merged. That's cool.
Yeah. So if I don't respond Thursday, then you can get demoralized. But until then, please don't get demoralized.
It's okay, right? I mean, everyone is like doing it in their free time, so it's absolutely fine. People can wait.
Yeah.
Great. So, why? I mean, another thing is why you think. I mean, you reached out and you wanted to actually migrate this to an X. So, why you think? I mean, we need to migrate this to an X. I mean, or anything which you have.
So like I have been in the Angular community for long. Like I have people seen that I have, like I have this curiosity that everyone talks about and everyone swears over NX. Like yeah, NX is the thing that you should go about. NX is this. NX is great.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Okay.
but I haven't used it, and I never understood like why like how can
Mhm.
any tool be so good? No tool is so good, right? So so I wanted to see that what advantages does Angular
Mhm.
NX give over Angular CLI. So I
Mhm.
first created a project over in CLI, And
Okay.
I also wanted to say how easy it to migrate. So maybe I'll migrate some of my projects. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my intention in seeing that. Uh, so if I migrate this to NX, I'll know how to migrate. What advantages does NX have? Is like how good is it? Like
Mm-hmm.
those are the things. So that's
Okay.
my main reason to migrate this to NX.
Okay.
Like this is my open source project. I wanted to do as many experiments as possible, and I write on it every Thursday, and I want to share like whatever I do.
Mhm.
uh, i
Okay.
just I just want to have fun with this project.
It's best way to learn. Actually, I have learned most of the things by just actually writing code on GitHub and then publishing it for myself. Right. I mean, I don't generally share it with community, but whenever I get chance, I just write some code, upload it on GitHub, and that's it. So because I get to try a lot of things, right? I mean, I which probably I will never do it in my real time project. But luckily,
Yeah,
I mean, of course, I use NX a lot. All of my clients are using NX. So I mean, so to actually talk about NX, first we have to talk about monorepos, right? I mean, this is something which you might have learned or heard about that. Okay, this
yeah,
is for monorepos, right? So actually, CLI Angular CLI also supports monorepos,
yeah,
but it was like after Angular 6. So before that, of course, the NX was when NX was best choice before because it was doing everything for you, even doing monorepo stuff, which was not possible. Which was possible. I mean, I will not say it's not possible. It was not possible in Angular 4 and 5, but you have to actually do a lot of configuration. And believe me, npm link was a pain. I mean, actually, I had a project in Angular 4, and we wanted to use libraries. So we actually, while testing it, we had to actually do npm link and then test all everything together. It was really a pain, which actually was resolved when Angular CLI came with a solution where now you can create libraries, apps, and everything. But NX took it to another level, right? So it's not only limited to Angular. So what in case you want to add a backend, right? So you might need, let's say, a C sharp based backend, or let's say a Java based backend. There are a lot of plugins which are available. So now you can actually easily just add those plugins, and now you have your entire code base available in a single repository, your backend, front end, both. And people can. The only thing is, of course, you have to make sure that what control you want to give, and as project grows, I mean, it comes with complexity, right? Maintaining all the projects, build times, all those stuff. But again, NX really shines when it comes to build time as well. So NX has a lot of other options. You have NX Cloud where you can cache your build. Actually, it will be distributed build. So once you build something based on your whatever commit ID you have, so if the commit ID is same, you have not made any changes, that won't be built again. I mean, it will be just retrieved from cache, and you can actually enable that cache locally as well. So it will speed up your local development, right? Because most of the time, it is really pain in case you have a large project and you want to build everything. So of course, it will take a lot of time, but with cache, it becomes really easy because of course, when you are working on your local machine, you are not going to like make changes to every part of your application, right? So you build those only once, and with an cache, it's like your entire team is sharing the same build. So those are the advantages, and that's
so
where people really, yeah.
with this cache, do we save the cache? Is it only used when we do a build, or is it
Mhm.
also used in watch mode or other modes?
Whenever you do build, so even I think if you run tests, I think those are also cached. So if you're running a test again, it won't be actually it will not rerun it, right? I mean, it is already available, so it will just pick it from the cache. So those are
Yeah,
the things which are
dev
available.
and prod, yeah, in dev and prod builds there are different files. So how does cache work between dev and prod builds?
So that's right, right? So NX Cloud is a solution where you can actually make your build available on a particular server. Probably there are two parts. They have also public and private one. So public is where you will your metadata. I think they don't care about your metadata will be stored on their server. But in case you opt for private, for private one, you can actually define where you want this to be available, right? So let's say, of course, a lot of organization won't be comfortable sharing the metadata stuff with someone another server, right? So which is available not within our own infrastructure. So that's where you can
Yeah.
actually opt in for the private one, private cloud, and then you can just do the same. So that cache is available, and now whenever anyone does the build, it will be first it will be checked in cache. If it is available, it will be retrieved from cache, so you don't have to build again. So everyone, right? I mean, even your CI shares the same cache. So even your on
Okay.
your CI, it will be like retrieved from cache.
Yeah, that
And
is such
I
a
think
nice feature.
the pricing is also really good. I think they have something like uh, it's based on how much minutes you save. So let's say if you save 1 minute, it costs you $1. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I have heard this pricing, such pricing for first time. Probably I don't buy a lot of product, right? Probably that for that reason. But it's like how much minutes you save in your build. Based on that, the pricing is available. And good thing in case you have an open source project, it's free. So you can actually
Yeah.
probably ask anyone from the NX team. Everyone is available on Twitter. You can just message Jeff and or Brandon. They will be, I think, more than happy to give you a key, which you can try it out for your open source project if you want to try it out. I mean, I think Lars has some setup already available. So once you get the key, it is really easy to set up. And Lars can help you
Yeah.
probably on next stream where you get the key. We can ask. I mean, Brandon will be really happy to give us a key to that's it's an open source, right? So I don't think there will be an
Yeah.
issue.
The license is MIT too. So if anyone want to do anything, they can do.
Yeah, I mean this is open source, right? So I think that's fine. Cool. So now let's move on to see and let's see how we can actually migrate. Uh,
Yeah.
Actually, NX documentation is really great here, and it's not only so it's not limited to Angular, right? So I'm sure you're also aware that NX is not a solution for only Angular. When it started, it had limited integrations with few of the frameworks. So I think it was with Angular, and then it went to React. Then Nest.js came in.
Yeah.
You already have Express available. I think that was from day one. I'm not sure. And then now you can create a Nest.js project, and with all the community plugins available, you can add a .NET project, a Java-based Spring Boot project, even Python. You can also add Django-based API that is also available. So all the plugins are available as well. So to migrate right now we want to migrate from Angular CLI to NX. So it's a command I'm sure most of you might have used many times. So it's ng add command, and then you can say narwhal at the rate workspace. That's it. So once you do this, your project will be migrated to NX. So let's do that. So I'll just do
Yeah.
ng add narwhal workspace and analytics. Let's do yes.
So like what is like does NX use under the hood? Like what are like I have heard about generators and all of things.
But
What are
Angular schematics,
yeah. Oh.
right?
So like can you create any generator, do anything with it? Like what are the limitations of generators?
I mean, it's up to you what you want to do. So I think
Okay.
use cases are unlimited, right? I mean, you can also do, let's say, you can write your own generator based using NX. That's also possible. So once it is migrated, we'll see that folder structure. So it will give
Okay.
you different folders where you can actually write your code. So that's a folder called tools where you can actually create generators and executors. And there is an error. Cannot find module prettier. And why so? Unended exception cannot find prettier.
Wait.
See.
So I have not added prettier for now.
Because anyways, it was an Angular project, right? So it doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
it is necessary here. So it says utilities and whatever. Okay, let's try to install first.
So I also had I tried it once, but I
Mhm.
also had some problems. Like in my PC, I don't set
Mhm.
a GitHub username because I I use a different username in different projects. So I have never set a
Okay.
global username. So I don't know,
Mhm.
like not setting a global username fails NX fails creating an NX workspace. I don't know why. Like I raised the issue in the repo, and they told like it's not a problem. So I created a global username for creating a project. I don't know what happened in that.
I mean, that's. I mean, it's okay, right? I mean, in case you don't have any username defined, I think it will just skip that setup. I mean, the Git part, right?
Yeah,
That's the same
that
in Angular CLI.
yeah, that's what I expected.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, some that might be something else. So you can see, I mean, with a single command, what we did is ng add an Angular, sorry, narwhal slash workspace, and your project is actually migrated to NX. So if you see the uh, your application structure, right? I mean, Angular, of course, Angular CLI has a specific structure. So it has your default project, which is SRC, and then whatever you create new projects, it goes under projects folder. So there is no differentiation between projects. I mean, an application or library. Everything goes inside your projects folder. I mean, of course, you can rename it and choose whatever name you want it to be. But here, I mean, Annex has clear separation that apps is where your application will go, libs
Okay.
where your libraries will go. So in case we create new libraries, it will be created in the libs. In case we create apps, or if you create sorry, Nest.js application, your .NET based applications, they also go inside apps. And in case you create a Nest.js based library, it goes inside libs. So that's differentiated. And this is the tools. So here you can actually go ahead and create your generators and executors. Right? So Angular CLI has concept of schematics, which is called as generators here. So in case you want to write your own schematics for your application, I mean, this is something which will not be published on NPM. So what you can do is you can just create your generators, keep it in under tools, and it won't be published. It will be used inside
In
your
local
workspace.
repo.
Exactly. And then you can also create your executors, which is known as builders in Angular CLI. That will be
Okay.
created inside tools. So those are two things. In case you want to publish it, of course, go ahead and create inside lib and then publish.
So
Okay.
can
So
you
let's
open the source
see.
folder again? Like I
Yeah, I mean, all the files are moved. It will be empty. So you will not find anything here. So we can
okay.
simply delete.
So this is the old source folder that I had.
Yes, it is from Angular CLI.
Okay. Okay.
And now all the code is available here. So you can see dev.to, the entire code is moved here.
Okay. So, Santosh, you talk a lot about libraries.
Mhm.
So, my question would be like,
Uh-huh.
I have seen all the NX, whatever I have heard about NX, it divides everything into small libraries. So,
Right.
before starting to divide it into a library, so how do you decide the size of a library, or what a library should contain?
So really good question, because that's really important part when it comes to NX, right? So the whole thing is NX, as I told you about the NX build, right? I mean, in case your application size grows, Angular CLI, you have to build everything. You cannot skip anything, right? But with NX, you get the functionality that you can cache your build, and which really reduces your build time. So whenever you are creating libraries, I mean, there is a article from last which I generally when I was actually doing my first migration from Angular CLI to NX, I was referring to the same article, and he has a GitHub repository available as well. So let me just go ahead and minimal this one ngx. No, this is render component. This is an elements. Okay, we can just go to his repository and see. So So last I had actually an article where this tiny app project, this one.
Yeah.
So actually, I was referring to this particular article which actually last wrote. So what he did is he divided everything into libraries based on features, and even your CSS, right? So if you see this libs folder, you will find many things. So even your assets, right? Generally, asset is something which we keep inside your application. Even your assets are actually treated as a library. And if you see, your styles are also treated as a library. So there is nothing inside your app is like just a shell, and then you have to import everything from your libraries. So this is generally what I follow, of course based on your features first. And you should also break everything, like you have assets here, styles, environments, which is really important in case you have multiple apps and you want to share your environments into multiple applications. So that is also very useful, because the biggest problem with environment is when you start creating libraries and you are going to use environments in library. And the problem which happens at that time is you will be importing from apps to lib, which is totally wrong, right? I mean, you should not do that. You should always import libs into apps. You should never go from app to lib. And this is where it really shines. I mean, this structure, so which Lars created. So you can just create environment as a new library and then just refer the environments wherever you want. And then also Lars and yeah. So Lars also wrote another library, another article on shell libraries, shell library pattern, where of course it is really little bit advanced, not what we need. But one of the key takeaway from that article is feature libraries. So you should always focus on small features which should play together really well, and then you can just use that or import that library and then use it. So for example, okay, Lars has shared okay, and except Narwhal Airline Angular. This is the one I think I'm referring to, the shell library one. So here, if you see in your application right now, if I go to this pages, right, so you already have feature libraries. So you have this article detail module, you have home module. These are nothing but your feature libraries. So these are your features. So what you can do is you can actually split them into smaller libraries, because uh, now if I, okay, this is okay. So this is your uh, absolute path import, but I think we should not do this. So we are here, right? So if you have anything reusable, right, like which will be used in all the libraries, for example, this pipe, which I can see here,
Yeah.
this pipe looks like a reusable thing, which will be used in all the libraries.
Yeah.
So what we can do is we can also create shared libraries. I mean, or you can, yeah, you can also call it a shared library, or you can probably reusables, core, whatever you want to name it. Uh, you can actually move this libraries there, and then you can use it inside all the libraries. I'm sure here, for example, videos has like its own module, right? I mean, you're not sharing anything with another library. Even in case you are doing that, that's absolutely fine. Just you have to also keep in mind that you should not create circular dependencies whenever you are working with libraries. So let's say
So
article details. Yeah.
yeah, I was just gonna ask, like you were explaining already before me asking, like what are
Mhm.
circular dependencies?
Ah, so this is one of the problem you will probably never face when you are working on a single application, but it happens when you start breaking your application. So you'll find a lot of code where you are actually doing something like this. So you have videos module where you are actually importing something from article detail module, right? And then article detail module has something which is imported from video module. I mean,
Oh,
which is where actually video module is used. So both the module actually causes what circular dependency, because they are dependent on each other. So NX has a rule to avoid this. So I'm sure you are using ESLint, right? So Angular ESLint directive. Okay, this is something which is not added here, but I think it should be default to error. So you have NX boundaries, which you should never break. So NX boundaries make sure that you never come into the circular dependency thing. And believe me, in a workspace, you will hardly notice that you are doing it. Even though you are doing it, you will hardly notice it. But once you start breaking into libraries, right, that's where you realize, okay, now I am actually doing this circular dependency thing because
Yeah.
I'm just
Uh,
importing A from B and B from A. So
yeah.
that's
So
how it
you
goes.
talked about NX boundary and you just skipped over it. So
Mhm.
that's something I don't know. So can you
Uh,
explain that
Actually,
in a
it's a,
line or two?
yeah, it's a linting rule actually. So if you go to, let's say, enforce module boundaries. So just to show you, so actually, I'm sure everyone is aware of linting, right? So
Yeah.
when you create a new application, you get a lot of lint rules which are available. So Angular with NX, actually, you get ESLint by default. I mean, in case you want to use ESLint, ESLint anyways is deprecated. So in case you create a new project, you will get ESLint by default.
Okay.
And ESLint, so NX also has written some linting rules. One of them is, of course, your this one. So enforce module boundaries. So
Okay.
what this rule does is it will check in case you have some code where you are actually breaking this boundary, right? I mean, you are causing circular dependency. I'm putting from A to B and then B to A. It will check it while linting. So
Okay.
I mean, that will be captured with once you run your linting rules, and that's it. I mean, so you can go ahead and fix it. And it also takes care of one more thing. I mean, a lot of time what we do is, let's say, let's go back to your code. So here, article detail. So what you have here is, I think you are doing article detail module. I think you are doing a lazy loading here, right? So
Yeah.
if I go to your route,
It's in global.
yeah, where this is the one, right?
Yeah.
App routing module. So you're lazy loading it. But a lot
Yeah.
of time, what we do is while creating libraries, we actually also add everything into a single library, and then we also start importing from that particular library. For example, let's say from article detail, let's say I need this comments component somewhere else. So what you will do is will directly import this, and it also actually breaks something. It breaks a rule that your lazy loaded modules should not be imported. Otherwise, it breaks the
Yeah.
purpose, right? I mean, what is the
Yeah.
purpose of having lazy loaded modules? So you can load it at runtime on demand. But
Yeah.
if you do this, I mean, if you just import anything from your this particular module, you are breaking that rule. I mean, everything will be loaded on demand before actually your application gets loaded, right? I mean, as soon as your application gets loaded. So your this rule, ESLint rule, also takes care of it. So I mean, of course, just run the linting rule and see. So now what we can do is, I mean, in case you have any more questions,
No. Let's start with let's
okay.
get into the juice of it. Crux of
Let's let me just commit this creation to NX. Now what we can do is we can start creating our libraries. So let's we have this four feature library feature modules which are available right now. So we can convert this to libraries. So let's do that. So to create, of course, you will now rather than and you can also use ng, but let's use nx. And I think you can also do this. So it's already there. Uh, so you can say nx generate lib, the same command which you actually do in Angular CLI. So you can say nx generate lib, and then I can just give a library name. So let's say I'll call this library as article detail, or can I? Okay, this is article detail. So makes sense to actually keep it article detail. And it says property think of undefined. So let's generate lib. Mhm. Things needed today, full detail. Try. I'm using here cannot get property on.
Yeah,
This first see if it's two NVMI again. Probably I'm missing some libraries. And I'll do one more thing. I'll remove this package lock. Sometimes it causes a lot of issue.
yeah. This is the old one, right?
Probably. So it says audited and packages. Uh, Let's do one thing. I'll just remove package lock and I'll just remove node modules. And then let's do install again.
Yeah.
Most of the time, such issues are related to this node module, some package which doesn't get updated properly, and it causes all these issues. So in case you get all anything, something which is strange, so try actually removing your node modules and do a fresh install.
Okay. We we are using npm so much.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we are really dependent on npm and all these tools.
Where you are deploying this application as of now?
I am deploying it in Firebase.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, you can see it in the GitHub hook. I have created already the GitHub hook for deployment. So if whenever your branch gets merged to me,
okay.
it is
Mhm.
already automatically deployed to my Firebase hosting.
Okay. So npm run, npm build, and then
Yeah.
so okay, someone has already created this action.
Yeah. Yeah. Getting my head around GitHub Actions was also interesting. Like
Yeah, it's nice.
because in all other whenever you write a pipeline or something, you have to write each and every bash command that you run. But
Right.
here you get a lot of things inbuilt with GitHub Actions repositories. So getting your head around another person's code, because that gives you really uh, each and every line you have to think that what is happening in the CI right now. But with GitHub Actions, it's easier. But once you get your head around it,
Actually.
uh, like so, like when we added an X workspace, did they
Huh?
move our karma testing to just to?
No, that won't be done. So you have to actually run the migration. And I think they have, let me show you the documentation. You can actually run it from here. So you can see there is a karma generator, there is a move generator, there is a karma project generator. In case you want to use karma, by default, NX comes with just. And
Yeah.
there should be,
So, is there something which can migrate now my Jasmine to Jest?
yeah, there is a schematic which is available. Karma to just and next. I think someone has written an article on it. So, and this one, ng generate narwhal just in it. Add just support to workspace. Replace. Okay, this is manual. Looks like there is. I'm not sure why this is manual. Okay, this is manual. So, in case you want to do it manually, but there is a schematic if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
Migrate karma to just Angular. This one, okay, that's the next one actually. And this is also manual step. This one, offering solutions. I think, yeah, this is written. This is an schematic which is available. So this will be done automatically for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we
So
can do later on. Yeah,
yeah. So this is one of the advantage of NX, like all the generators that are available in the community, right?
yeah, actually. So you can go to plugins. I think this is where all the community plugins are available. Workspace
Okay.
generator and its community plugins. So you can go to any community plugins and then you can see all the plugins which are available. Here it is. So NX Karma to just right. This is what we want to use. There is
Okay.
something called Triple T, Firebase in case
Yeah.
you want to use Firebase, capacitor. So all just plugins are available. So I was
So
talking about this also. There is one for Flutter as well. So in case you want to use Flutter inside NX workspace, yes, possible.
yeah. So so you have worked with generators a lot. So have you come across some paid generators?
Hey,
Yeah, generators can be paid. Someone like create some generator which is so good that you want in your workspace. Have you come across some paid generators?
I don't think so. I mean, I have, all the generators are free, right? So it's community based.
Yeah. Okay. So
Free,
nobody has ever thought about creating paid generators.
I think there
For
is something for deployment, if I'm not wrong, but I don't think so. This is paid and it's limited and will deploy cloud functions, GCP. I mean,
some.
probably they will charge for deployment. That's it. This is for GCP. I don't think so. There will be anything paid. Okay, so strange. We are getting some errors. So it says Angular is linked. Uh, and generate library home. Can be similar. Angular library generator. Okay, just the same generator. Let's try this one. Let's specify that we want to actually create Angular library and then library name. So let's say this is for home. Expected project league home to exist. Doesn't to exist. Please create one. Generate library. Basically Narwhal already and then home and so projects leaves home. TS config.json to exist. Otherwise should be okay. Let's see if there is already something which is added here. No. Let's open next.json. This is dev.to, okay. And then angular.json, you have dev.to. Okay, there's only one project. I'm just wondering why this is. Let's try with another folder, article home listings.
Yeah, the is the end to end project, like I saw undefined E2E. So maybe the end to end project that is in the default Angular CLI app, that is creating problems.
I don't think so. It should not, but it's related. Anyways, we don't have any E2E project available. So just remove this, and then here we don't have any E2E project. Let's see. Hmm. But it is asking tsconfig.json to exist. Not to exist. And it is empty, right? That's the point. We are trying to create a new folder. Let's go to this. default project, new project, root projects. And what is the error? It says projects libs listing. Okay, I think there is some migration issue. Let me just verify.
Okay.
Looks like, looks like angular.json has some property which should not be there. I'll just refer from an existing project which I have.
Okay.
Default project, I don't think so. We use this. Okay. I think it's new project root, right? I don't think so we need that anymore. We have default project. Okay, let's try this now. Probably it should work. Listings. Ah, okay, that was the issue. But it should be
So
taken care during migration. Probably if someone wants to actually raise this, they can go to the NX repository and raise this issue.
so the key was new project root, right?
Yes, exactly. Okay, so now we have the library created. Because the Angular NX does not need to know where, if there is any folder where I have to create the project because it's fixed, right? For libraries, it will always use libs, which you can, of course, change. But it's default. Yeah. So you have listings now here, and now you can actually move the entire code from your listing here, right? So I can just move entire listing module to my listing library, and I want to replace it. Yes. Hope it works. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, just do one thing. I'll just close it and then move the file manually and come back.
Okay.
I think there is some rights issue when I actually try to move the file inside VS Code. Done. Okay, so now you can see here, right? Now I have moved entire listings to a separate library. And if you remember in Angular, what you have to do is you have to always build your libraries before using it every time.
Yeah.
Every time you
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Here you don't have to. Actually, based on your path mappings, it will work. And one important thing to notice here, you will see we don't have any package.json, right? So if you create a library inside Angular CLI, it creates a package.json. The purpose is Angular CLI by default considers that you will be publishing those libraries because that's the way to use it,
Okay.
right? So you have to publish it and then you
Yeah.
can actually go ahead and utilize. But here, these are called buildable libraries. So Annex has multiple types of libraries which you can create. This is what we have created is buildable, which is by default, you don't have to specify anything. And then you can also create publishable libraries where you can actually publish outside your monorepo, right? But purpose of having buildable libraries here is like, of course, you will build it and use it inside your monorepo. You are not supposed to publish it. So here,
Okay. So Santosh, I saw that the new library is built with just configuration, but we have Karma
Mhm.
configuration for now. So is there any way to change that default?
We can actually. So, uh, sorry, I also forget one thing. Forgot one thing. This is not a buildable library, right? So to make libraries buildable and publishable, you have to pass a flag. By default, you get a folder and you will get all the files, and you can work on based on path mappings. So these are the libraries which will not be built, but every time you use it based on your path mappings, it will be like NX will build it for you and use it. So buildable libraries comes with an advantage that you can of course cache it and then you can use it. So in case you want to create the buildable libraries, let's actually replace this with buildable library. I've not done. Uh, so what we'll do is we'll roll back, right? So I'll just do
Okay.
discard change this, and then we'll create a buildable library because that's what we need right now. Mhm. So let's
So
go back.
the default library works with path mappings, and if we want to take
Actually,
advantage of caching, we should create a buildable library. Yeah.
yeah, buildable or publishable, whatever you want to. Publishable is something which you can publish outside monorepo, and you can also use it inside the monorepo.
Okay. So are there any advantages or disadvantages of buildable libraries apart from this, like caching?
Advantage is caching, right? So you can actually cache it,
Yeah.
and of course it works in the same way, right? So based on you can just use based on the input. You don't have to actually build it. That's common for all. So
Okay.
inside
Okay.
monorepo, you don't have to build it separately. I mean, it's something which you can do it in case you want to utilize something known as affected builds, which we probably will talk about in next stream. But right now, let's go to library generators and then we'll see creating libraries. So I just need to see the flags. Um, library generator. Okay. So I think it's buildable true, but it's buildable. So you can see it is by default false. So you
Yeah.
can actually pass listings hyphen buildable equals to true, and you will get a buildable error.
Okay.
Project name already exists, of course, because I have to delete it from angular.json, and I do that.
So
Listings. Mhm.
is the configuration stored at angular.json or nx.json?
That's a good question. I think in future version they will be using workspace.json. Right now, in case you have an Angular project, they don't use workspace.json, but workspace.json is actually used for all other library or all other project types. In case you have a React-based project or you have Express backend or Nest.js, so they use workspace.json for those. And
So
next.json is something where you have just the library name, so you can see, and you can also provide the dependencies. So there's tags, right? I mean, inside that you can actually define there.
yeah, yeah. So I got disconnected for a second.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I think there is some problem with my internet connection. It says unstable, but it's working fine so far.
Okay.
So actually, in case you want to actually learn more about libraries, actually I did a stream few months ago. So where I was actually talking about buildable libraries, publishable libraries, and everything. You can go to my YouTube channel and you will be able to find it out. So let's see. I think I should have it. Switch out. And so I covered both how you can actually use Angular CLI and how you can actually use NX both. So yeah, building and publishing and Angular libraries. So
Okay.
these are two videos which are available. So and it also talks about secondary entry points, which is really important in case you are creating a lot of libraries and you have a lot of code, and now you want to actually make sure that your libraries are tree checkable. So this
Yeah.
is where secondary entry points is really important.
Okay. So primary endpoint is something like which will import entire library, and secondary is like you can divide libraries into smaller things.
Yeah, same way Angular material does, right? So you have material slash forms or input module or table
Yeah.
module. So you can actually do for your own library as well. So here, so Angular CLI or NX using Angular CLI to NX specific. So as per last, you can actually both. You can actually either use NX Angular.json or Workspace.json.
Okay.
So it is created now. So you will find now the difference you will see in previous library which was created. It was it never had this build option.
Yeah.
Now you have this build target as well. So this is buildable. So now you can go to your app, pages, listing, and then you can remove. Let's move all the projects. Okay, how come it already has some files? Mhm. See? Okay, these are empty folders. Okay, that's what I thought. So I'll just
So
remove this empty folders. Mhm.
so I think they are the ones which we copied. And
Yeah, so now let's move the apps. Let's see app pages listing, and we can move listing. Hmm. Right. So in case you want to build libraries, you can of course use the same command. You can just do next build and your library name, which is listings. And of course, you have this hyphen prod flag, right? And if I'm not wrong, it should be using the new flag, which is partial. Let's see. So now it is using partial compilation mode. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of it, but it was done to make sure that your IV libraries are publishable now.
yeah,
So
yeah.
if you remember in before Angular 12, you used to get an error message, a warning that this is an IV library and it cannot be published. So to avoid that, Angular team came with CFP, and then they got a lot of feedback, and then they finally came up with this hyphen partial flag, and it says Angular.json and define E2E. Why do we have and define E2E? I think this is something probably in case someone is interested, this is something which can be a good first issue, and you can also raise an PR probably to fix this. Where is that? And JSON, I think, and defined E2E is here.
Uh,
And so it is building now.
yeah, your CLI is not visible to me because of large
Oh,
command.
uh-huh. So same command, right? So rather than an ng, we are using nx.
Okay.
That's it. So nx build, and then we are probably saying, okay, this file name, and there are some imports which we have to fix now because you have given the absolute path. You have to use relative path, and that's it. And you can build your libraries, and now here, so you will find your paths here. So you have dev.to slash listings. So now you can actually go to your apps, and rather than actually importing from this article detail, you can do something dev.to slash your module name, but you have to make sure you are also importing it from your API. So you can go to your index.ts and then say listing module is already imported. So probably you should get it here. Dev.to slash listings.
So this
See,
is article detail. Listings is down there.
yeah, listings module. Okay, sorry, I was referring to something else. Okay,
Yeah,
this is
this is
listing here. So you can go to dev.to. Okay, this is another issue which comes a lot, and generally I close it and reopen. So you know the path mappings, right? So your editor should identify those path mappings. Otherwise, you will not get IntelliSense.
yeah. Without
So,
intelligence working working really gets hard.
yeah. So now you will, and generally once I reopen it, it actually resolves those paths. Please configure paste. So and I'm sure you will face this issue a lot in your application as well. In case you're once you start working on a large application. So you can do this, probably reopen it and it will fix this. So you have import dev.to slash listings, load children, import this. And this is index.ts, and then you have listing one. So I think it should work. Not sure why it is not picking up so much. Not find module or its corresponding type declaration. This is released. Okay, why I'm doing this. And it should be dev.to slash listings. This is your library, of course, library. And then from this library, we are already exporting this one, right? So listing module. So we should be able to get listings module here. And
Okay.
so let's see, let's try to build the application now. Okay, the application build will of course get failed because of we have to fix this library first.
Absolute path.
Yeah,
Absolute paths, right?
right. So yeah, so this is it. I mean, you can create libraries and then you can start importing those libraries and just refer to the module and probably build your library first just to make sure your libraries work before you start using them. Otherwise, you will get again issue once you try to build them, right?
Okay.
So you can actually convert all these different pages which you have here into different libraries, and then make sure, uh, in case you're using environments, you can follow the same pattern which Lars mentioned in his article, and the repository which we saw. This one, where is that? This one, right? So minimal an tiny app project. So you can actually, based on this, you can break your environments into different libraries as well.
Okay.
So probably, I mean, in case anyone is online and watching the stream and wants to actually raise their first PR, once we commit this the next migration branch, you can actually create open your first PR based on this. So what Lars has done is you have separate libraries for your assets, styles, environment. You can do the same and raise a PR. Will be, I think, more than happy to accept that PR, right, Ajit?
Yeah, yeah, sure. But on Thursdays.
Yeah, only on Thursdays. Keep that in mind. I mean, you can do it any day. But it will be addressed on Thursdays.
Yeah. So, so in the listings module, we have lot of API or data access to. So, should we move into a separate library, or should we keep data access and the components in the same library?
Depends. I mean, are you going to use that at other places as well?
So, I asked that because for articles, the articles API section is used
Uh-huh.
at a lot of places.
Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah. So what you can do in that case, right? So you can probably divide this entire app's listings library into several parts. So generally, what I do is this is something which I follow. Probably, maybe other developers might be doing it in a different way. So what I generally do is, in case I have, let's say, store or I have services, so I try to, and it is used across the application, right? As you mentioned,
Yeah.
using avoid, I mean, this boundaries. I don't break the boundaries rule. I split them into multiple parts. So I will probably create a listing slash core, which is my core module, which will be like lazy loaded module, which will be imported.
Okay.
Common module, which will contain, let's say, in case you have any components, shared components or shared directives, pipes
Services.
for those. And services, yeah, you can also make add services there, or in case you have a dedicated store for this particular feature, which is also being used at some other places, I create another store. So listings has core, common, and store, or you can call it state, whatever you prefer, store or state. And then you you get 3 libraries, and now you are free to actually import or export whatever you want to.
Okay. Okay.
Right? So right, so we created our first library. So let's see what we have created our app to, of course, NX, and then we got some issues, and now we were able to create our first buildable library, which we created, and now it again has some issues related to parts. And once you fix that, that will be done. And probably we will do it in next stream. Yeah, we are actually we were supposed to be like 1 hour, but we did it for 1 hour. So probably we can join another stream. We will announce soon when we are doing it. And meanwhile, we will do all these things. We will create libraries and make sure that it is buildable, so we don't waste a lot of time on stream, and we can proceed with next steps. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So I'll open this PR. I think this is something which I've at fourth, and so I have to create a PR. So I'll probably fix this and then I'll raise a PR in some time.
Or you can raise a PR
Cool.
if you want. I can work on it too, or anyone else
It's
can work
okay.
on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just do it for this listings, so other people can just add for pages, articles, if they are interested, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it for
That
all
will
the
be great.
libraries. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah. So thanks a lot, everyone, for joining. And in case you have any questions related to NX, you can. So just few announcements. I mean, in case you are available on Twitter, we recently posted about our new Twitter, new Discord server. You can join us on Discord server, and probably we can take this discussion there as well. Or you can just DM me, Ajit, or anyone. I mean, in case Lars. Lars is also available on Twitter. In case you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And feel free to actually subscribe to our YouTube channel where we'll be doing a lot of streams. This is the first stream which we are doing on. This is learning channel, and we also have our Twitch channel, so you can also subscribe to that. And you are also free to actually become part of our community. So in case you think you have something to share, please do send us a DM, and we will onboard you on into our team, and then you can also be part of our future streams. Or in case you want to write blogs for us, you can do that. Just drop a DM to us. Yeah, that's it for the day. Thanks a lot, Ajit. I was doing this migration after long because uh, I think the last migration which you did was like 10 months ago when I was doing it for my new client, because you don't do it every day, right?
Yeah. Yeah. This is done once, and but
Once.
when you do, you get some problems. And yeah, I
Yeah.
want everyone to be aware of.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, in case you want to raise all those issues, you can actually go to an X repository and raise those issues. There will be, I think, really easy to fix. They will be, I think, really easy to fix. Please feel
Hello.
free to send us the migration script. And yeah, Ajit.
Oh, yeah.
I was just talking about the issues, right? I mean, so what the issues which we faced. So you can actually go ahead and raise a PR in case
Yeah.
anyone is in. You can do that. And if you need help, just send us a DM. We'll be able to help.
Yeah. Sure.
Great. So let's connect next time, Ajit.
Okay then, Santosh. Bye.
Yeah. And then
Bye.